Messa fuori, c'è Pirlo, ancora Pirlo di tacco, tiro,
The referee should never have given the second, the straight red. Roma is missing the wing that they had last year.
Well, Salah. If you don't beat Crotone like this, it's mental. Wow. I don't know who he is.
He looks like Nainggolan, actually.
Oh my! He does not look like Nainggolan.
Ciao belli.
Why we leave the word to you? We want you to do the introduction.
Do the introduction.
I'm happy to do the introduction today. Finally, for the first time, we can breathe again, right?
A little bit more.
All right. What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Italian Football TV. Mike, I didn't think we were going to have smiles on our face today. We got Antonio, we got Gaetano, and despite the amount of snow, I could see it in Antonio's face, the stress of him shoveling his house today.
But he made it.
But you made it.
I was in bed when your father came to pick me up. I was dead.
Some people are in bed, some people are working.
Oh! Hey, we're working right now.
I know, but I've been up since very early because of the delays, all the delays at the airport.
But anyway, I think right now, first time you could escape a little bit, right? Take your mind off what you were doing before. Antonio, forget about all that snow because we've got Juventus who, through the amount of stress that they made us endure in this match, should have been a crime. But in the end, Juventus won against Tottenham. And
they made it ugly.
They made it ugly.
Very ugly.
We all said that Juventus were going to beat Tottenham. Everyone in the comments was saying that we didn't give Tottenham enough respect. I think they might have been right a little bit. Even if we were right, Tottenham were a fantastic side over both these legs.
Juve spilled blood to advance for sure.
Guys, come on, talk. Let's go.
I don't think Tottenham, they were excellent on both legs. On the first leg, they got lucky. And Juventus allowed them actually to come back to Wembley and take these chances. And I would say that on the second leg, Juventus, with a little bit of luck, or actually with a lot of luck, pull it through. And I'm so very happy. I mean, as much as I hate Juventus, I'm a Milan fan. But when Juventus play in the champions, we are all Italians, and I gotta have the pull for Juventus.
That's nice. That's nice. Okay.
But okay, they weren't excellent, and they were lucky. But I think the display that they showed today, they put me with a lot more fear than I expected because
they conceded first too.
Juventus conceded first, and this guy Son that they got Son. He's why are you making me sound crazy, bro? He's unbelievable. What a player! But in the end, Juventus. What it really reminded me of this week was just like last week with Lazio. How they pulled through at the end. The whole game, everything was going against them. Yeah. Juventus fans, guys online, they were saying Allegri out. Allegri's got to leave. He can't do anything in the Champions League, this and that. And then the end, Juventus pulled through because of Dybala and Higuain, who are always criticized. But
well, I didn't get a chance to watch the game as I was working. But when I was passing by one of the TV, and I stopped for a few minutes. That was the time where Juventus scored the 2 goals. So what I did is I spoke to the president of the Juventus club of Brooklyn, Tony Ferrara, and I wanted to hear what he said about the game. So this is what he said about the game, that Allegri in the first half, he missed the formation. He put the wrong formation in the field. And then in the second half, when he adjusted and when he put Asamoah on the left side and he put Lichtsteiner on the right side, that's when the team started to play. And actually, that's how they developed the first goal down the right side and the cross for Khedira and Khedira to Higuain. And I saw that, which was a nice setup for the goal. On the second goal, another beautiful goal. But I think you have a comment on the second goal.
No, I didn't have a comment on the second goal. The second goal was spectacular for Dybala. Dybala did an excellent job. Actually, the comment that was Dybala is the type of player that even with the pressure, he can take a cup of coffee, have a cigar, and then just bury the goal on the net like nothing bothers him. So.
Credit to Higuain on this goal.
That's a nice
Higuain,
pass,
he's
yeah.
constantly said that, he doesn't score a lot. He chokes in big games. But Higuain does so much off the field. Like, that run was Higuain checking in, pulling out the defenders. They all split up. If you see Tottenham's line, one was raising their hand that it was offsides. The other guy's looking at where Higuain is.
Dybala was already in the box by then.
And Dybala was going through. So, listen, these are the type of things that, like you said, the formation was messed up. That's all everybody said. Because Juventus' midfield was losing the entire game. I was ripping my hair out that he didn't put Marquisio in.
Oh, you're not the only one. You're
They
not
put
the only one.
Sturaro ahead of Marquisio.
I was, but in the end, Allegri's subs were definitely a difference maker because Lichtsteiner absolutely
warrior.
killed it.
Yeah,
He
he was
changed it.
awesome.
Asamoah, cool under pressure. Guys that don't get credit. Lichtsteiner is a guy that was left out of the Juventus squad. He's only brought in the Champions League because of injuries. This is a guy who, he went on social media. He was upset with what happened, this and that. And now to bounce back like this, proving that he's got this hunger that we weren't seeing from Juventus. For 65 minutes, nobody had the hunger, and it was driving everyone crazy that they were allowing Tottenham so much space, so much pressure. You needed someone with, I don't want to say the DNA of Juventus, but with the hunger and the passion to actually push forward. Once they did that a little bit, it seemed like it clicked. In 3 minutes, they scored the 2 goals. It looked like they were never going to score the entire game. 3 minutes, 2 goals. That is so mentality. I don't think, you talk about
Marco.
formations, this and that.
Let me tell you exactly.
Right?
2 minutes and 49 seconds.
And this was away. This was the away game.
in London.
Tottenham have not lost. There's a few crazy stats.
Oh, yeah.
Tottenham, they beat Real Madrid at home. They beat, what's the other team that they beat at home?
They beat Apoel and Dortmund.
And
too,
Dortmund,
right?
Borussia Dortmund. They won all these Champions League games at home. They didn't lose in Champions League. Juventus have never, since the Champions League became the Champions League, being an English team in the knockout stages. So it's the first time.
First time in 5 attempts. Yeah, they didn't advance against an English team in the Champions League. So they're breaking history right now.
There's nothing that you can say bad about Allegri, even though after the game he said, sometimes I make a mistake and then I correct myself. But, he reads the game very well. He makes always the right substitutions. I feel bad for Marquisio because I think Marquisio is a great kid that grew up with Juventus, and I think he's got all the skills, and he's a fighter, and he can do everything. He can defend, he can midfield, and he can score. So that's the only thing that I can say about Allegri. But the rest of it, the results that Allegri is getting, and he knows how to put players on the side and then let them come in at the right time. Dybala, he kept them on the bench for a game or two, and then he comes in, and the last 2 games, the goals that he scored in the last game against the Lazio and today, they are champion. The kid is a superstar.
Antonio,
I
say
see Antonio rolling his eyes while you were saying that whole thing. What are you going to say?
Well, he's right. Dybala, those 2 goals, they're worth $20 million for Juventus. Okay, the goal
That's
against
Lazio.
the Lazio, the last 15 seconds, that's $10 million. Yeah, how can you deny anything like that? The game was almost a tie game, but everybody was about to leave. Actually, 50% of the people, they already left the game. And then this guy here, 15 seconds before the end, he just buries that goal, which was like unbelievable. And then the goal of today was just another $10 million goal. Execution and the timing, like it was a one-two punch that really knocked the air out of Tottenham. And that was the key. But again, I want to say one more. Again, I'm going to say it. You need a lot of luck, and Allegri today had all the luck on his side.
But you said last week how they didn't have the luck.
Yeah, they didn't have the luck.
So
but today
it balances out.
They did have
That's
the
true.
luck.
And
Were you going to say anything about Allegri? Why were you rolling your eyes?
Allegri is not one of my favorite coach, actually.
Okay.
No Milan bias, right?
No, nothing to do with
Listen, he might not be your favorite coach, but I want to say a nice Juve stat right here. So basically, Juve have the best streak in Europe. They're in a 21 game unbeaten streak right now and only conceded 4 goals in those 21 games. So say what you want about them, but they're the most informed team in Europe right now.
I say whatever you want about Buffon.
Oh, yeah, this is what we got to talk about.
I'll tell you what I'm going to tell you about
Go, what are you
Buffon.
going to say? What are you going to say? Because you're going to get called out today.
Buffon is like a rookie, the way he's been playing right now.
Did you see his
I'll
saves?
tell you.
It was a near
say
perfect
it,
match.
Antonio.
Near perfect.
You don't know what a goalkeeper job is.
Yeah, I don't
So
know.
let me
40,
tell you.
40 years old, and he's doing it. You know what the goalkeeper job is?
Keane, again, he came out like a rookie. The guy, or it was one-on-one with him. Instead of blocking the sideways, he went straight into Kane. If it wasn't for the offside and the guy would have scored, it would be twice
It was
the
similar
same
how
mistake.
we
I'm going to let him
now.
finish. Let him finish.
He made twice the same mistake. He comes out without having an idea of how to block somebody like Kane.
I
That's
take
a-
a different perspective on this. You see rookie, I see experience. You know why? Because a lot of goalkeepers on those plays, you see it every week. They put their hands out, they grab Kane, and Kane knows this, and they get a penalty kick. That's what Kane was doing. He closed down the space, pushed him very hard, wide out, and Kane missed the shot. He couldn't even get it on target.
He didn't close anything. Yes, I jumped. Oh, come on.
That's
thing is-
experience
guys,
right there.
the
A
thing
rookie
is-
goalkeeper would have fouled him and gotten a penalty kick.
The thing is, in the first leg, Kane did the same thing, and he did score, and Kane was very close for scoring this one, so it was very similar plays for sure.
Exactly the same play.
Okay,
Very
and
similar.
how about
It was very
the
similar.
last second, the last minutes of the game? The ball is on the line. Buffon, cool as ever, every time getting one touch that gets it on the side, motivating his team, makes huge saves, gets everybody on their side. What are you gonna say to that?
Listen, 2 or 3 of those huge saves that you call it, a good goalkeeper will have just blocked the ball.
That's
Block the ball. I could have blocked that ball.
Yeah, you could.
Donnarumma, forget it.
Antonio, should Buffon retire? Stay one more
Oh,
season.
my
I
God,
don't,
he's
no.
Wait,
To me, and I said it last week, Buffon is going to be the only reasons if Juventus, they don't go through.
Oh my God.
Okay,
For the
listen.
quarter.
He said yesterday when he was over, he said that Szczesny should be starting over Buffon.
Definitely.
And everybody was calling him out. And you were wrong today because Buffon absolutely killed it. One of the best of the night, one of the best for Juventus
good.
always because of not just what he does on the field, what he does off the field, the leadership
He's
quality
a
that he has.
motivator. That's why they should keep
And-
him like they be the cheerleader, not a goalkeeper. It's more of a cheerleader than a goalkeeper.
Guys, let us know if you want to hear it. We're going to do a podcast on this because there's too many opinions. We're going to go back crazy. I know, Dad, what do you want to say about this situation? I see you ready to chime in.
About
For
Buffon?
Yeah.
Buffon.
No, Buffon, whenever he's ready to retire, I think from what he has done in all these years, he will make the right decision at the end of the year. I think is a person that you can see. He is a very balanced person, and at the end of the year, if he thinks that he can still help Juventus, he will stay. If he thinks that he cannot help Juventus anymore, he will retire.
I would have been done with 2018 if this was his last Champions League game. With what happened with the World Cup, and then this would have been. It's funny because Buffon before the game, like I have on my screen over here, he said, "Let's not call this a final, considering how the last few is." But just to have the, to be able to laugh this off. If Antonio said this to me, I would have gotten so offended, But Buffon, he's living it, and he's still able to, have the maturity and the humility, and he's still at the best. There's no keeper like him. Still the best, not only in the league, in the world. Antonio, it's a fact. I don't want to hear you say anything
I
about
don't know
that.
what kind of a
I
crack you've
was-
been smoking lately. I don't know. I don't see it that way.
I was with Buffon last summer for 10 days
Okay.
on the tour on the Juventus tour, and he's such an humble person, and he's such a nice person. And at the end of the practice, some of the players went straight to the locker room. He was the one stopping and signing to all the kids that were there. He never once took a shortcut. So he's also a good guy.
Nobody's disputing that he's a great man, he's a great person, he's a nice guy.
Great
Nobody,
player.
But business is business. When you want to win the game and when there is a
You put
championship
Buffon
on the
in.
line,
You put Buffon in.
I think I will just start to look at somewhere else.
Guys,
Wow.
we have something really good, and I'm sure you don't even know what happened today on social media. So Steve Nash, who's a Tottenham fan, he tweeted out, he's like, "Listen, Buffon, I love you. You're a legend." He goes, "But today, you're going to have to get out because Tottenham's going to win." He goes, "But also, I'm going to invite you to Chinatown to play." And
Oh,
Steve Nash.
God.
So Buffon commented, he goes, "Listen, first of all, we're not gonna go out." He goes, "Second of all, I'll see you at the game." He said, "I'm gonna accept your invitation." So maybe we'll see Buffon and
Nice.
Antonio.
Antonio,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I
In the
want to see you
podcast,
interview.
maybe,
Yeah,
right?
maybe sitting down and having Chinese food.
So Buffon accepted the invitation from Steve Nash.
Wow.
So we got something to look forward to.
Very good.
I repped the game last year, so I approve of this. Hopefully, I get to. Maybe I'll do it
Imagine
again.
you get a rep Buffon.
If we can get Alex now, Del
be
Piero
perfect.
to
that'd be
to
nice,
join
right?
too. Would
Yeah.
be nice.
Another guy I think we should talk about and give credit to, who I think this season he's been one of the best Juventus players, and maybe he doesn't get the credit, Chiellini. Chiellini tonight was a beast, to say the least. Putting his life on the line. Antonio's smiling already. Putting his life on the line, his body on the line, always for Juventus. You need this kind of player there. What are you laughing at?
What I'm laughing at is that when everything goes well, I mean, we can smile. But Chiellini, he risked to put a ball on his own net.
Nah, I mean, Chiellini always fights. You can't really blame that on him, Anto.
Chiellini is a
man.
great defender.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
He's a great defender.
Okay.
But I think Chiellini, like Buffon, it's just
Really?
on the verge of, it's right there on the
I don't
verge
know.
of just.
I feel like Chiellini's still up there.
I think
the best
Barzagli
defenders.
is a little bit.
Barzagli.
As hard as it is to admit, I think
Yeah.
Barzagli
Barzagli's
is. I don't think
declining.
Chiellini I've seen decline.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
the-
Barzagli I have,
Yeah,
though.
I agree, Marco.
Chiellini was still playing the national team.
He should.
Yeah, of course.
Li-
I
Well,
agree.
the statistics that you mentioned before, what did
Yeah.
you say? Well,
Which
4
one?
goals
They only conceded four
Four
goals
goals,
in 21 games.
in 21 games.
And 3
if
of them
I-
was these games.
And if I'm not mistaken, in the championship, in the Italian Serie A, they have the best defense.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so how can you?
Ooh,
It is the
Anto.
statistics.
Listen,
You
I
know,
said internationally.
Matt is not Matt is not an opinion.
Neither is luck.
Oh, yeah, everything's luck now,
Neither
right?
is luck.
Listen, I think, Antonio, you brought up a valid point that you said when you win, everything goes good. Because if Dybala misses that shot and Juventus go out of the Champions League right now, this would be a completely
Yeah,
different
seriously.
conversation. If he
Thank
hits
you.
the post, it goes out. Different conversation because, like I said, what you guys don't know, it felt like 3 hours of Juventus losing the match, 1-0 down.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the frustration that every fan was DMing us, messaging us, posting online, saying, Allegri, get the hell out of my club. Leave. And in my head, I gotta be honest, I'm a little bit rational. I know you don't think I'm rational, but I do think I'm rational. I was thinking to myself, Allegri has done incredible. What he's achieved in the Serie A, winning 6-7 times, is unreal. Two finals in 3 seasons. And I doubted myself for a minute. I said, to see this team, what they were doing on the field at that time, I said, how is this even Juventus? How is Tottenham pushing Juventus on the back and having this kind of pressure? And I'm not going to complain and say what people are saying about champions. Oh, Juventus didn't have the players, didn't have the champions. I agree that our midfield is not the best midfield in the world, but that doesn't dispute the fact that you got Higuain, you got Dybala, you got Buffon, you got players worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So to say that is BS. So I disagree with that. And to say that Tottenham's team on paper is better than Juventus is also crazy. You say they're younger, whatever, but experience matters
I
too.
never said that Tottenham is better than
Not
Juventus.
you, not
Even
you.
last week I
Just
said that
in
Juventus
general.
has got a
Yes.
great chance to,
You did.
Just
to
in
go
general.
through. So
People were not giving everyone
Juventus
pushed
has got a lot of
Tottenham to win
quality
this
that
one.
Tottenham doesn't have. Tottenham has got some speed, but they don't leave it. They don't keep it together on
That's
right
true.
there.
They're still learning. They're still pretty young and unexperienced. though.
Pochettino was pissed after the match. He said he was very upset. Even in his interview, he was trying to keep it calm, and you could just see he wanted to scream at everyone. He said Juventus had 3 chances. They scored 2. He goes, that's the difference.
Oh, guys, another stat I want to throw. Juve scored in their first 2 shots on target. So efficient from them. They had 3 shots. They scored from the first 2 that they had.
What are you going to say about that?
I was gonna say this is where the superstars come in.
Exactly.
Okay, and Juventus has got Dybala and Higuain. Those are 2 superstars. And if you compare them to other teams or even PSG, who's got a lot of great players, but you need a superstar. You know, you get a chance, and you put the ball in. And on that goal, on the second goal, what you mentioned before about Higuain, that, he came back and he set it up. I was with a Serie A player on Monday. He played. He won the tripleta. I don't want to say his name because I didn't ask him if I could say his name. It's not right. Maybe he didn't want me to say his name. But I asked him a question about the center forward, and I told him, what do you think of Icardi? He goes, Icardi is a great player inside the area, but you take him outside the area, he does not know how to set up the going to give that nice pass. And I was thinking of I was thinking of Higuain. I was thinking of Benzema too. They are center forwards. They're very good in the area, but once they come out of the area, they can set up the play.
Yeah, with their back behind the net, they know to hold the
forward.
ball and just starting to get the teams to move up.
And I never really thought of that about Icardi, you know, because
it's true.
we were talking about Real Madrid, we were talking about the future, and he pointed out. So, and today when you said about Higuain, that he came back and he made a beautiful pass. That's what it came to mind.
That's a great. I mean, that's a point that I think, like
For
Benzema,
sure.
we always get into an argument with our friend who's a Real Madrid fan, Miguel, who always, I don't like Benzema that much. But what I say is, how can you say Benzema sucks? He always says Benzema sucks. Benzema obviously does stuff off the ball that you don't see. And I think strikers a lot. Yeah, you pay 95 million, whatever, for Higuain to score goals. But this assist, what Higuain did is worth a goal. Just because you don't get the shine, you don't get the recognition, doesn't mean that you didn't work as hard for that goal. Without the whole team, you don't do anything. So for me, if you're winning, if you're contributing, you're doing this and that, you're just as important as Dybala who puts the ball away. All aspects needs to work together for it to work. And I think what you said, players like Dele Alli, Dembele, players that I don't watch too much, right? That everyone will hype up. Everyone on social media, all these people who don't really watch will say, look how amazing, look how he dribbles, look at the shoes he wears, all this stuff. But at the end of the day, a champion is what matters. The name could be great. The skills that they could do is great. But the champion is the one who finishes these kinds of balls off, who wins these kinds of games, even if it's not as beautiful on paper or beforehand. And Juventus played terrible. I think that's a great point about that.
Listen, Dybala's second goal, he made it look so easy, but it's not as easy as it looks. I mean, you have to just time the ball perfectly.
Yep.
Yeah, the guy looked at Higuain. Did you think that these things happen by chance?
Yep.
They try those things
In training.
in training. They train when they do those things.
100%.
He must have looked at him and said, hey, I'm going. So the guy feed the ball down the line. Everybody was frozen.
Yep.
All the Tottenham defense was frozen. You know, they were looking at each other. Is that yours? Is that mine? Is that offside? Is that not offside? So the guy was already behind the net over there with the ball celebrating. So, and the way, look how easy he made it look.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper had no clue and no chance.
Good point. A great finish. The goalkeeper went one way and he went the other way.
He was expecting the ball on the right hand side, but the guy was already the ball even before the guy. The ball was already behind the net. That's it. Too late.
But at the end of the thing, Juve gets so much credit. Even I want to give Tottenham too. They put up a bigger fight than I thought. But this was such a Juve win too. Juve always comes up in the second half. We can always see in the Serie A also, and they always have that moment of brilliance that they're gonna just put away the match and just grind out the win. And that's exactly what they did today. They weren't supposed to concede early in the first half, but they did. But they managed to come back and score 2 goals and when it mattered.
That's a good point.
The first half was very poorly played by Juventus. So,
but
they made it up in the
think,
second half.
I think it says something about Juventus where this kind of win reminded me of a Serie A win for them, where we always say how they got lucky, right? We talk about lucky. And Juventus are able to grind out these wins. And they're always saying, in Europe, they can never do this. How come they can't just pull something out like they did against Lazio in Europe? Yeah. And they're constantly struggling, always waiting till last second. Today, as bad as it was in the beginning, I think that's one of those key points that you think to yourself, okay, listen, Juve turned it on. Maybe they do have some of this DNA that they show in Serie A a little bit in Europe.
How many times we've been saying that the bench is what makes Juventus what
today they didn't have a bench.
That they have right
today
now.
they barely had a bench.
But
they had half a bench.
brought in good substitutes.
He did.
Too, at the end of
But
the day.
But nobody will get real credit beforehand.
The bench that Juventus has, you think like Lichtsteiner is not a good bench? The guy, he plays on the national team. All of those players that are sitting on the Juventus bench, they all national team players. So they're not like second choices. The fact that they don't play is because you only have 11 players to put on the field. So at some point, someone is going to have to sit down. But again, this is the reason why Napoli, I think, is not going to make it. It's because they do not have a bench, and I don't think Sarri did. He put a lot of values on the bench that they have. He only plays with 13, 14 players. That's it. And this is the reasons why I think that the shortcoming of Napoli has to do with the coaching style and the fact that they do not have a deep bench the way Juventus has.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's a marathon. It's not a race. And if you don't get injuries, you get lucky. But at the end of the day, they're humans. They're gonna get injured. So I think Sarri's putting a lot of eggs in one basket for that one. But Juve definitely have a great bench. They have so many subs that they can bring in.
Higuain said afterwards, and this was pretty funny. It was a funny dig. Like, I laughed when I saw it. He said that we know that English teams always leave space for us attackers. He said, so we just knew that it was going to come. It was just when the ball was going to go in the back of the net. I think that's one important thing is you believe, you know that you don't get overwhelmed like, oh my God, we're never going to score. You say, listen, the chance is going to come. When the chance come, I just have to be ready, and you be ready. And that Higuain finish is brilliant on the first goal too. But he made it look very easy.
And I'm sure they got confident from the Lazio. You always got to believe until then. That's what happened. And if they didn't believe, do you think Dybala would have scored against Lazio that last 10 seconds of the game?
Even Lippi before the game, he said everybody's calling Juventus like they're out of this game. He said Juventus are winning this game. He said it straight up. He said, I don't know why everybody thinks that Tottenham's going to take this. He goes, when push comes to shove, Juventus are going to go through. He goes, whether they have to tie this match and go into extra time and beat them, or they win it right away, he goes, Juventus are winning.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a key.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, one thing I wanted to just stress again one more time. Why Marquisio is not playing? I think the fact that his 5 comments on
everyone does that. Social media.
Listen, I think there is something very big going on between Marquisio and Juventus.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
It has to do not just Allegri. It's the fact that Marquisio's style no longer applies to the Juventus.
It can't just be that.
Standard.
I feel like it's something behind closed doors that we don't know about.
They're politely waiting for the seasons to end and let Marquisio go because
Marquisio come to New York maybe.
Hopefully.
Marquisio can play in any team. To me,
I feel bad. It's gotten to the point where you're right now, I think.
Today Marquisio deserves to play. Better than Khedira, better than a lot of midfielders that were over there.
Sturaro came ahead of him.
Even Sturaro.
I agree. I don't know what it is. We don't want to speculate too much.
Yeah.
I do feel like, at first I didn't, but now I do feel like something happened with Allegri. One other thing. Dani Alves, when he left Juventus in the summer, right? We all know what happened with PSG yesterday. Dani Alves said, me and Neymar are leaving Barcelona and Juventus because we have our eyes set on the Champions League. And to do that, we got to go to PSG. Yeah, who's out and who's in now? Who is out and who's in?
They have the eyes on the Czechs.
Exactly.
On the French Cup, that's the only thing they got their eyes on right now.
They got nothing now. PSG, just like we saw with over there, like oh, look what Saki said. I'll read you what Saki said. Real Madrid, one second. Real Madrid play with a cigar in their mouth. PSG are a bunch of individuals, and ideas cannot be bought.
Ooh, see? It says as it is. You can't just come in and
Dybala scores with the cigar in his mouth, right?
We've been saying, Real Madrid. Listen, we've been saying that there are a bunch of teams that are dependent on just 1 or 2 players.
Yeah, exactly.
In this particular case, you can just look the weakness of PSG. They put all their eggs on Neymar.
Yeah.
So when Neymar gets hurt, you see that the team is there just doing what?
The difference in mentality between PSG and Real Madrid, you could spend all the money you want. They spend 400 million, 450 million, all this money. Listen, at the end of the day, you have to win. At the end of the day, you need to create a good environment to win too. You can't just motivate the players by money because the Real Madrid players, they just have this class about them, that a belief that they're not just playing, like you said, for one player. They're all a unit, a very good team.
That's what it is.
Did you see the PSG game, the Real Madrid?
Yeah, I saw a little bit. Yeah, I mean, Real Madrid is a team. Real Madrid has history. Real Madrid has got superstars. When you think that they've been criticized, that they're out of the Liga, they come out, the Champions League, they come out and they play really well. I mean, I saw them play last night. It was late, but I saw some of the game. And they really, when it comes down to nitty-gritty, they know how to put that
switch on.
Didn't we say 3 weeks ago that Gaetano, that Real Madrid they're not out? I mean, to me, even 3 weeks ago, so Real Madrid are going to contend to the end. And
they're out of the league, we said.
And the Cup too. They only have the Champions League left, so Real Madrid going crazy.
They're not paying attention to La Liga.
I think
focus on the Champions.
I think Real Madrid have the greatest chance to win the Champions League just because, I mean, we could talk about who Juve are going to draw, Man City, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. All these teams are very good teams too. Real Madrid's got this class about them that they have the players, they've got the club, they've got the history, they got it in their DNA, they have it in their mentality. And then they have Cristiano Ronaldo who scores all these goals that it makes all this difficult. Either way, Juventus, I think that this is going to be a good hurdle to overcome because you like to say, oh, let's get an easy draw right away. Juventus got a Tottenham who's very hard, but sometimes going through these difficult times like this where Juventus struggled, it gives you the belief next time whoever they're playing, to get over it. Like we hopped over this hill before, we can hop over the next one, or we can continue to believe. So I think a lot of these little things are important.
course.
But yeah, I think we talked a lot about this.
Listen, wait.
What
Since we were on the subject of Chiellini before, right?
Yeah.
He got a second. He got another yellow today, so he's gonna have to miss the next match, right?
Is he
No,
missing?
Bernat,
Yeah, he is,
yeah,
I think.
I think it's Benatti
I
and
think
Pjanic.
Benatti, yeah.
I think it's Chiellini too.
We'll fact check that, but I'm pretty sure it's Benatti
But
and
anyway,
Pjanic.
I want to know your opinion about what do you think about Verratti, the way he's been playing lately. Even with the game that took us out from the contention to get into the World Cup.
Sweden.
Yeah, it's just frustration.
Well, it's frustration, and I think Verratti is a choker. It's just I'm very disappointed with Verratti, not because of the red card. Red card has got nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
But I don't see Verratti just with the leadership skills that I'm accustomed to seeing playing, and just very disappointed.
I used to be a huge Verratti fan. Especially, I watched him when he was at Pescara, and I said, this kid is incredible. I said, somebody in the Serie A needs to pick him up because the skill he had, the vision he had was incredible. I interviewed Verratti, and I loved him. He was an amazing person. The thing is, I stopped sticking up for Verratti a little bit because, like you said about PSG and motivated by money, motivated by these different things, I think to really become a champion, you got to be motivated by something internally or by the club itself that you're playing at.
Yeah.
And to me, this is my opinion, I think a lot of the PSG players are not really motivated. Like the Real Madrid players take pride in the history that Real Madrid had. The players who wore this jersey, Ronaldo, Zidane, the old players, and Raul, the guys that respected it. I don't know. I really do feel like this kind of history, this kind of DNA is important.
PSG doesn't have this DNA.
I think it's important for the club that you play
PSG
for.
don't have this DNA, but I want to talk about Verratti. I don't feel like Verratti is money hungry at all. I just feel like PSG just wanted him the most out of everyone else. They spent more money than him, and they got him.
I don't blame him for going.
They made him feel more important than the rest of the Italian clubs apparently wanted him.
It's not about
and he went
that.
there, so that's why I feel like he went there.
It's interesting what Marco said.
Yeah.
And now this makes me remember the New York Cosmos were playing NYCFC for the champions. So I think it was the
Coppa Italia
Cup.
for
It was a League Cup.
for here.
yeah, something like that.
And Sir Ferguson was around and in New York, and they asked him, what do you think? I mean, NYCFC, Pirlo, and all the great superstars. He goes, you know something? The New York Cosmos are going to win this game. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, history, pride, the shirt,
I think
the
it's
name, the team. He says that's
It
what
weighs
counts.
more.
100%.
And that's just remind me. And I remember, because Sir Ferguson to me is the top coach ever. So a very interesting point.
I think it matters.
Yeah,
think about in your
100%.
own life the things that you'll go the extra mile for, rather than the things that make you the money. It's not always the same thing. And to really become a champion like Buffon or a lot of these players who stayed with Juventus in Serie B, they were not doing it for money or for fame. They were doing it for something inside of them that said, "I need to stay where I was."
Well, this is, I think, what is Gattuso is trying to bring into AC Milan. Gattuso has played with a team. He has experienced this kind of a
Atmosphere.
leadership skills and atmospheres and pride and attachment to the shirt and to the team, and you go all the way in, and then when he sees people that they're not really all invested into the team and on the pride and on the DNA of the history and all of that stuff, then he becomes an animal, and I don't blame him for doing that.
Exactly.
So, and that's why I see AC Milan right now a little step above of what Montella. Not because I love Montella coaching style, but Gattuso has brought in this to be angry and to be angry just to wear the shirts and just to be pride, to have a lot of pride. Because I see Milan shirt, not everybody can wear. Even with myself, when I play in New Jersey with your father, that we call it the NJ Milan. When you wear the AC Milan shirt, you have a big responsibility, and you have to just live up to that responsibility. Am I right or wrong?
You know what Gattuso does? Gattuso walks around with a fork in his hand, and if you don't perform, he will stab you while you're running.
That's
how
motivation.
Gattuso-
That's motivation right there.
It's both. It's a tough love,
No.
but also the history.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I 100% agree. This is one of the reasons that I want to see Milan in Europe, because like I keep saying, they don't have the quality to really win a Europa League, right? But I think that their history and their DNA and the belief that they have inside the club balances it out a little bit. That gives them a shot to. That's why I believe in them. Maybe a team like I'm gonna get hate for this, but a team like Lazio, who's better than Milan, I'm gonna say on paper is better than Milan. But I think I think Milan in Europe does outweigh Lazio in Europe, just because Milan have the history of winning and their club pushes for that. I don't know. It's my opinion. That's what I think.
No, Lazio, they do not have the DNA like we were saying.
Not hating on Lazio. We hope Lazio beat Dinamo. I was just using comparison.
History is history. It's a big weight. It weighs a lot on the mind of the people that they're facing a team like AC Milan or Juventus.
Yep. And it's not the only thing that matters,
It's
too.
embedded in the club.
A lot of,
That's
Leicester City, all these crazy stuff. Anyway, good thing you mentioned Milan. Guys, on Friday, we're going to have an awesome video. Let's not say who we're doing it with, but something that you guys have been commenting since the day Milan got paired with Arsenal is going to be happening. Can't wait to see what happens with Antonio there. That's coming. Also, if you see the Dybala jersey in the background over here, you might have seen on IFTV's Instagram, we work with 433. You guys know them. Greatest soccer account, greatest football account right now on the internet. We work with them to give away that jersey. You still have time. If you're watching this, go to Instagram. Follow the rules. You'll see our post on it. Follow 423.
We're going to be holding it. Just comment.
And follow us. And, yeah, that's it. And last thing I want to say, we held off on our podcast, obviously, because of what happened with Astori and all the games were put on pause, and we missed the derby. Everything was done. Chiellini gave this interview afterwards, and he said he didn't want to dedicate the win to Astori. He said because it wouldn't be – he said a win is not enough to dedicate something like this to Astori.
It's an understatement, he said.
And a lot of players were saying, Davide, this one's for you, Pjanic, a few other players. I want you guys to watch the interview because you might not have seen it. It was going pretty viral across the internet because.
Well, listen, I want to say a few things about Astori. I mean, Astori was he grew up on the youngster of the AC Milan. Then he went up playing, I don't know, for a couple other teams.
Cagliari.
Before he landed to Cagliari, Roma, and then he went to Fiorentina. But I tip my hat because he made it all the way to the Italian national team. And the only positive that I see about his dad right now, at least he died doing what he loved the most, was playing soccer. Even though he died, not on the field, but
before his game.
So. I'm sure his presence is not going to be felt, physically, but a lot of people, they're going to keep thinking about him, and hopefully the family is going to move, they're going to heal a little faster, and, with all the support with everybody. So
this was some scenes from today. They allowed people to go to I guess like a casket.
It was like a ceremony, open ceremony for all the public. And
De Rossi went, Belotti went, the whole team went. Look how many people. There was just hundreds and hundreds of people. And we posted this and we said, we put a quote, don't worry about your bank account. Worry about how many people show up to your funeral. So it's safe to say Astori had.
No, he was a gentleman. He was not just a great player. He was a gentleman.
Absolutely. Everyone who, they look what he says. He brought a smile to it. And a journalist even tweeted out, one that works with the Italian national team. He said, my biggest regret is never telling you how much of an impact you always had on even us journalists. He goes, the smile, the attitude that you had, all these so small things. He said, I wish I could go back and thank you. And, like you said, to go from a youth to the national team, captain of Fiorentina.
Right. The only thing that I regret, I have to be sincere about a story, is this, that AC Milan saw him. They want to bring him back. But he never resigned with AC Milan, because at the point when he went to Roma, AC Milan was really on his they wanted so badly to come to AC Milan, but for some reason they didn't come.
They asked Allegri who was the best defender, and he said Astori, and at that time nobody knew who Astori was. And they tried to bring it back to Milan when Allegri was there, but there was a problem with the money, with the contract. Well, I would like to also add that all the interviews that I've seen, I know it's easy now to say what a nice person he was, but all the people that they even interviewed, even when he was in his little town near Bergamo, everybody said what a great person this was, and what he did for Florence and Fiorentina. He said that he brought the city together, and that's why they elect him to be the captain, because he was also a leader. So that's very nice about Astori.
He stayed in a time, like there was an interview before about, Fiorentina lost a lot of players this summer, and they were saying that they made him the captain to try to, unite this team. And he said, listen, I had to stay here. He goes, it was my duty. He goes, I don't know if I'm a leader. He said, but I'm going to try because this is where I am. This is what I love. They retired the number 13. Fiorentina and Cagliari both retired the number 13, which I thought was beautiful. And yeah, I mean, there's not too much to say. Not like you said, yeah. I think Cagliari, Allegri worked with Astori at Cagliari, so Allegri had some stuff to say about him. Obviously, it's a strange situation because they're asking Allegri a question about Champions League, and then they throw this Astori one. So he didn't want to answer it.
Right.
Obviously. And
they also gave it to Conte too when he played the other day. They also asked him. He was very emotional, and he said Conte said he was a great person also.
They all wore, black armbands for him. Him, Zappacosta, Marcos Alonso is another player. There's a lot of guys who all said that Astori was incredible. And it's just terrible situation. Unfortunate, surprising, crazy.
The tribute that they had before the game, the Juventus and Tottenham, was very nice too.
They're doing that for all Europa League and UEFA
all
games
across
this week.
Europe.
Yeah,
I've seen it everywhere,
which is great.
Which is nice for him.
Yeah, they had a minute of silence yesterday before the PSG game.
Exactly.
Real Madrid. Yeah,
every game.
All UEFA games.
Yeah, everybody's respecting him, and I can't imagine how it is for Fiorentina. Hopefully, the team does good. And they can bounce back, and they use this as a strength for them to really do something in the league. But anyway, we went through a lot of emotions today. I think that we got Milan tomorrow, who we're going to be very excited and anxious to see what happens. Antonio, I can already see the excitement on your face.
No way.
What's your score prediction, real quick?
I don't think we're gonna win.
Every damn time. Every time.
Mourinho games.
I don't want to spoil anything.
Okay.
I just wanna wait and see.
Okay,
respect, Dad. What do you say?
Milan is gonna win.
Yeah, I think so too.
1-0.
Milan 1-0.
Milan.
1-0.
Bonaventura.
Home.
Okay.
Now all of a sudden, maybe, right?
No, it's not maybe. I said we must win.
Must win.
Okay.
Absolutely. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed, rate this podcast. Antonio, say it.
Rate this podcast.
Rate
the podcast, guys.
That's gonna be.
And guys, we have in the comments where you can listen to it too. It's not just in video form, but also in audio form.
Yeah, SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes, everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, go do that. Go enter the Dybala giveaway. And yeah, as always, thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Ciao, ragazzi.
Nice, guys. That was a good one. That was a long one.